I'm Brigantia Blackbird. Happy Sunday. After a whole month of learning about the Celtic god Mabon, it's time to finally say farewell and to think about 5 takeaways or 5 lessons that I've learned just by getting a little bit better acquainted with this god, thinking about his mythology, and trying to find things that I can learn from it. Now, unfortunately, he did not show up to play in any of my rituals, but just because we can't make personal one-on-one contact with the gods doesn't mean that they cannot still teach us things. So, 5 things. First, captivity of the body does not have to equate captivity of the mind. The entire time that Mabon was, in captivity, he was imprisoned. And this happened from the time he was 3 days old to however old he was when King Arthur and his men finally caught up with him. In that time, it is said that he grew in both strength of mind and in wisdom. That doesn't happen if your mind is as bound as your body. So it's useful to think about that. Whatever can happen to us physically and externally, it does not have to limit what goes on in our minds. Second lesson, it is possible to come through adverse circumstances stronger than before. And I think the reason why this is really sticking in my mind is because there are so many messages out there that are going counter to this, of eternal perpetual victimhood, of, oh, something awful happened for you, and you can't possibly get beyond out of that deep pit or whatever the rock bottom was, that you're just caught in that moment. It will define your life. It will do so forever, and that there's nothing you can do to really rise above. I reject such thinking in its entirety, and I think the example of the god Mabon is a further rejection of that very philosophy. He had very adverse circumstances. I mean, who knows what his upbringing actually consisted of, and yet he was so much better. He was ready to rumble when he finally got out, which brings me to the third lesson. That after escaping a bad situation, don't be afraid to rise to the occasion and take on a new challenge. It would be the easiest thing in the world to say, oh, I've been traumatized, I cannot possibly move forward, I've got to sit and think about everything. And maybe there are occasions when that's the appropriate and the healthy thing to do. But what about the occasions of, oh, it's ended, it's over with, it's done, I'm not investing any further emotions or energies or anything towards that past situation because it is done. Now I'm looking at the horizon and I'm going to get out there, I'm going to do something new, and maybe it'll be difficult, maybe it'll be easy, but I'm going to get out there and do it. Life is meant to be lived. It is for the living. And that actually it does not help us or benefit us from imposing a living death on ourselves. And that's really what being emotionally trapped and being just stuck in past bad circumstances, that is what it is. You are emotionally rotting away and your life is not moving forward. It's you're trying to go against the current of time itself. So Mabon is really a useful god to contemplate about, okay, this is done, I can get on with the next thing. Because maybe a lot of us need to take a look around and think, I kind of let the past dominate my life entirely too much. It's time for the next thing. It's time to go on. Fourth lesson, it's never a waste to develop unique skills. You never know when they might come in handy and tip the balance in a situation. After Mabon got out of his captivity, one of his special skills did come into play, and it helped someone actually succeed in their quest. We don't know what we might learn that might have later usage. Sometimes we learn things just because it's enjoyable to learn things without having a specific point to it in mind. But maybe one day that could be something that actually tips the balance on our situation or propels us into a better situation or enables us to win something. You never know. It's not a mistake to learn something new, and it's not a mistake to cultivate a skill set and get good at it. And our fifth and final lesson that I want to mention is that our personal restoration can also heal those who care about us. Once Mabon was finally returned to his mother Modron, the earth came back to life again. Now, of course, part of this is all about an allegorical metaphor about the changing of the seasons and how the captivity of the child sending the world into autumn and into winter, and his return brought back spring in the summertime. It's all part of that metaphor, but it is also a mirror to human behavior. If we are bettering ourselves, if we're getting past the sources of our pain and our wounds and we're making something better of ourselves, we're no longer stuck in that awful way, in a way that returns us to the people who we care about and who care about us, And it's all the anxiety that might have felt on our behalf, the worry, the concern, the uncertainty about our futures, a lot of that can dissipate and go away. So, really, by helping ourselves, that can in turn sometimes help other people. So that is the five main things. If you've been working with the god Mabon, or you've been contemplating his mythology in any sense, and you have some other ideas about what can be learned from him and from his storytelling, I would love to hear about that. Come visit me at Blackbird's Brew on Discord. There will be a link in the description box below. I think that's it. We will be on to a brand new god in the month of October, and I'm very excited to be working and talking about him, so I hope you'll tune in for that. But for now, bye-bye.